So, Chris Millington, the Gaffer, welcome. How are you feeling?
Yeah, good, mate.
A few weeks into the role.
It's good to hear from you. And yes, it's a couple of hectic weeks. It only feels like yesterday, really. It all kicked off, but yeah, a couple of good weeks, mate. A lot done, and a lot more to do.
Like you say, a lot done, and you've had to deal with new contracts, players leaving as well. What's that been like for you?
Yeah, well, it was the first week in particular was a real whirlwind. We had obviously had to get in front of all the current squad, discuss with them the processes that were going to go on that week, and discuss what the future held for them in relation to Halifax Town. So that was a really busy, challenging week to get underway, and with the help of the current staff, it was made a heck of a lot easier. So that was week one, and then week two has been negotiating with a number of those players and really starting the process of going after some very key targets that we want to try and bring in.
Just on those players that have signed new contracts, how do you sort of feel about those as players and as people? Of course, Harvey Gilmore, Jamie Allen, Jesse Deborah, Jay Ben, Cian Spence and Jack Senior.
Yeah, all hugely important to the club. They're of an age and of a stage in their careers that we can certainly be of help and benefit to them. But likewise, we require and we demand that they're of help and benefit to the club as well. So they're important people because of who they are and what they represent away from the pitch as much as on it. So they are really important, but the qualities they've got as footballers are obviously the main attributes, and we need and want those players in the team.
Just sort of looking at new signings then, Gaffer, we brought in Jack Hunter yesterday. How did that signing sort of come about?
Yeah, well, I've been aware of Jack for a few years. We know of him, and we've been aware of his qualities and how they would fit into our system. So it was a case of speaking to his agent quite quickly when I took over the role and identifying where he was up to with his club from last season. And when I realised there was an opportunity for us to bring him in, I was very keen to do so. I think Jack, again, not dissimilar to some of those players you've already mentioned, he's at a stage of his career where the stability, the coaching environment that we provide and the opportunity to play regular football will kick him on and help him produce the football that he's really truly capable of. So it's an exciting addition to the team, and I think the fans will enjoy getting to know Jack over the period of the season.
As a footballer, what can the supporters expect from Jack?
Well, a bit of everything, really. One of his key attributes is his versatility. He's got a really good engine on him. He's excellent out of possession. He's got the ability to break lines and play forward from a deeper position, whether that's holding midfield or on occasion he may be used in a back line. But he's got a huge variety of attributes that he can contribute to the makeup of the team, and from that deeper position within the team, he can get us going forward a lot on the ball. So he really is quite an exciting addition for our style of play. Additionally,
for the supporters, I'm sure they'll be sort of intrigued as to how this transfer business sort of goes about, the sort of procedure of it all, how from when the interest first comes to then signing them, how sort of long is that duration period, and what sort of goes on in it, Gaffer?
Wow, yeah, it's a pretty intense and long-winded process, really, especially for us, because we try and do things as thoroughly as we possibly can. So identifying players isn't just about who are they, where have they played, how good are they. It's about how they fit into our system and how we can work with them to try and make them better. We look at players who, at one end of the spectrum, may be able to come in and contribute straight away, and at the other end of the spectrum, players who are going to come in and maybe need time for us to work with them and coach them and develop them into being a regular player within the team. And then obviously a range of players in the middle of that spectrum. But it starts with identifying those who will fit into the style. Then we're looking at such factors as the geography of them, the location of them, the financial aspect of what they'll be looking to achieve. In pretty much every case, I want to sit down in front of them, ideally face to face, but occasionally that will be done online, so that we can get to know each other a little bit. I can give them the pitch of why I believe that they'll be the right fit for Halifax Town, and obviously not every player we're going to be able to afford, but I believe there's different ways to add value. Our football sell is excellent. We work to help the players get better. We work on what's quite a small squad, so we bring players in who we expect to contribute to the team, and obviously the Shay and the fans are a big selling point of that as well. So people want to come and play for the club because of the fans, because of the stadium, and because of what we've done in recent years.
That's sort of on the pitch and players wise. How about the backroom staff? What's that looking like at the minute?
Yeah, I mean, more or less identical. There's the only hole in that team is the obvious one. Pete moving on, but to all intents and purposes, exactly the same structure, and all of those people have been contributing amazingly well over the last couple of weeks when they should be getting some downtime. They've heard the call to arms, and they've been up and assisting me in getting out to meet players, helping out in terms of looking at the equipment and the training facilities and what we need to improve and get right for next season. So they've been fantastic. So yeah, pretty much to a man, it'll be the same setup in the backroom staff, and obviously there's the key addition of an assistant, which I'm working to get resolved hopefully this week.
It's really interesting that sort of for you to be looking for an assistant manager when you've been one yourself for many years. So what have you taken out of being an assistant manager and now putting it into looking for one?
Yeah, well, I think I've gone on record a number of times saying how much I enjoy being an assistant and being a coach within a first team environment, because it does allow for that sort of that personal relationship with the players that maybe changes slightly when you're the manager. The possibility to get to know them a bit better and spend a bit more time with them is great as an assistant or as a coach, and somebody who's got those skills is crucial to the role, because they have to act as that bridge, act as that mediator between the player and the management team, and they have to be the one who the players feel comfortable enough to share where they're at and speak about what the thoughts are more openly than they necessarily will do with the manager. So there are a load of things that I've really enjoyed about that role, and I'd say some of the skills that I've got that I brought to the role, I'll be looking for in the person that I appoint. But also, I've got to be aware of things that maybe I'm not so strong at, that they may be able to bring to the party. So, I've identified a profile of an assistant, and I've got some extremely strong candidates who I've got for consideration.
I must ask then, Gaffer, for yourself, going from that role where you've got those sort of personal relationships with players. I know on the training ground, the players over the last couple of years call you Mill, they call you Millie and things like that. So now you are the Gaffer. What's the sort of terminology that we should be using?
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, it's a good question. It's probably one for the players, but as long as they're comfortable enough to know that I don't change, the person underneath the title will not change. Some of my roles and responsibilities will. Some of the decisions I make may upset them. Some of the choices I have to make may not always be what they believe are right for them. But what I think they will know already is that everything I do with the best interests of the club at heart. I do with the best interests of the team at heart, and I will do in such a way that they will understand that it isn't anything personal. It is purely for the betterment of the team. What they'll also know, having me in place, is that whenever we go out to work, we're going out to achieve. We're not just going along to be making up the numbers. We're actually going out to achieve something, and we're going to work really hard to do that.
Just lastly then, Gaffer, a sort of two-part question. I know the supporters have been, in a way, wondering why our pre-season match with Fleetwood Town development squad is one behind closed doors, and then the sort of second part of the question really is, what are the rest of the pre-season friendlies looking like?
Yeah, well, we're organised now in terms of the pre-season friendlies. The club will communicate those, I'm sure, in the not too distant future. It did take a little bit of work to get some more games into the programme. It was a relatively full programme that I inherited. I felt that maybe in some areas we lacked some real competition and possibly wouldn't prepare us fully for going into a National League season. So we've had to make a couple of additions to that programme and try and work it in such a way that it won't put the players under too much physical stress, so that they'll be entering the season in any way, shape or form under physical fatigue. So getting the number of games right within that short period that firstly prepare them physically, but secondly prepare them technically and tactically was really important. And we've had to add some fixtures in there that add that level of stress and challenge to the players without overdoing them physically and without putting them at any risk. So we're in a good place with that. Some of it may be a bit of a challenge in terms of the Fleetwood game being behind closed doors, but that's purely just to get it into the programme so that the players can have the right level of opposition and be built up incrementally to start the season in the best shape possible.
That's great. Gaffer, that's everything we wanted to cover for today. So really appreciate your time. And Jay, I'll just let you maybe end on a little message to the supporters as we head into, nearly pre-season.
Yeah, well, I think it's, I'd just like to send them a message to say thanks for all the good wishes that I've received over the last couple of weeks. Secondly, we're in a good place, given we're barely even halfway through June. I think the squad is definitely taking shape, and I think they can be excited to hear, and hopefully excited to hear, that I'm in front of some really interesting and exciting names that we're endeavouring to bring in, so that they can really enjoy the time at the Shea this season.